Spider-Man is probably still one of the best comic book adaptations of all time. A story about
great power comes great responsibility.
But also doing the right thing just because it's the right thing, and of course, loss. But what if we flip the script? Let's step away from our not-so-eight-legged friend, and instead dive into the mind of Norman Osborn, aka the Green Goblin. From his perspective, it's not a tale of heroism, it's a journey of scientific ambition, spiraling into chaos. One day, you're a billionaire, pushing the limits of human potential, and the next, you're losing your marbles and fighting a man in spandex. So let's put on Norman's fantastically green boots for a second, and imagine that you are Norman Osborn, a man who is remarkably well-spoken, decent, and most importantly,
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
you never really learned the whole CEO shtick of treating everyone else like shit and basically exploiting others for profit. You were more a scientific genius that pushed the boundaries of science so far that your competition basically didn't exist, and they all had about 1/10 of your skill. And one day you're just minding your own business and you had to take your son for a field trip, and he's going to one of your exciting technologies, or at least one that you're sponsoring. And speaking of today's sponsor, Opera One R2. Now, I've actually been using Opera for years and reached out to them because frankly, I really liked their product. And when they accepted and asked me to try out their new cutting edge browser, Opera One R2, I was an instant fan. It introduced some pretty good quality of life features such as split screen, and my god does it feel good to just drag and drop and have a split screen rather than open up a whole new window. Opera also has a built-in AI tool called Aria, and it's super handy as well. You can open up Aria's command line with Control/ or Command/ and ask any question or generate any image from a single prompt from scratch, all without having to leave the web page. Also, it can provide detailed information through the image recognition. But one of the best features, at least in my opinion, is the tab traces and tab island feature. Now, if you're anything like me, you're a bit trigger happy with opening new tabs. Well, Opera One R2 actually lets me trace my steps by telling me which tabs I've opened more recently. The darker the underline, the more recently I use that tab. And with the tab islands feature, I can group all of my tabs together, easily collapsing and expanding them based on my needs. And you can create new tab islands by just clicking on a link and it does it automatically, or you can manually do it yourself. And you can easily control your music with the floating music player without interrupting your browser at all. And you can choose from 7 popular streaming services, and the player even works outside the browser. One thing you can do is make it feel like home and transform your browser with customizable themes, including animated backgrounds, sounds, and UI, and you can create your own perfect workspace. Unlock a faster and smoother browsing experience. Install Opera today using the link in the description. Your son is a nice enough guy, not exactly gifted, and he doesn't exactly have the brain power to continue the family legacy. I mean, if he didn't get his ass thrown out of every private school that he went to. Anyway, you meet his friend who's called Peter Parker, a guy that Harry says is a skibbity riz or science whiz or whatever these crazy kids are saying these days.
I read all your research on nanotechnology, really brilliant.
Did he just say that he read your research on nanotechnology and wrote a paper about it? This guy's a teenager and he understands your work that well. It's a shame he gets called off because you would have loved to have had a conversation with this young lad. And he's Harry's friend? Well, I mean, Harry might not be a literal genius, but he sure as hell knows how to rub shoulders with people that might potentially be geniuses in their future. This Peter Parker kid seems special, and he probably is going to go places, and hopefully, maybe, rub off on Harry. Anyway, you head off to go meet with your board members, and it's actually something that really irritates you, but they pay the bills.
I want to see the progress report on human performance enhancers.
Of course they do. Everyone always wants performance enhancers. They never actually want the sick technology that you have invented. Your competition, Quest, have barely got a flying machine, and you've got a full exoskeleton as well as a thing that is the size of a large skateboard that can hover in the air. Like, what? And they just want your performance enhancers. It's like, okay, whatever, you fucking idiots. And your performance enhancers are glorified steroids.
What were the side effects?
Violence, aggression, and insanity.
Now you literally stand in his way before he says something he'll regret. Honestly, he's a bit of an idiot. He has no idea what the hell he's talking about, but of course he says something, and Slocum is no idiot. He works for the army, and he just asks Strom what he thinks. And I mean, it's annoying, sure, but if you were going to potentially give insanity-inducing super serum that would turn people into mini Hulks, you would probably want to be a bit cautious about their mental state. Still, very annoying, but what can you do? You can't scream, you can't shout, you have to be whatever.
The whole line back to formula.
Oh, fuck, no, this fucking Strom, man. Why would he do this? Back to formula?
Norman, the General gave the go-ahead to Quest Aerospace to build a prototype of their exoskeleton design.
And if your so-called performance enhancers have not had a successful human trial by that date.
Are you kidding me? So you head off and you think about what your options are. And I mean, human trials are long and tedious and require intense scrutiny and research. And just the level of red tape would basically mean that your budget is gone. And this is all Strom's fault. These slack-jaw army idiots would probably just accept anything that they had before yours, despite yours being absolutely the superior product, simply because it's very clear that they don't like you. Strom is making them hate you even more. Anyway, you remember this old guy called Dr. Barry Marshall who injected himself with a bacterium to prove that ulcers were in fact not stress-related. And well, if it's good enough for him, I mean, he did win a Nobel Prize. It's good enough for you. So that night, you and Strom get to work. Of course, the dude is trying to worm his way out of it, and you really want to smash his face in. Of course, he has disrespected you at every turn through the course of the day, but alas, you cannot.
We can't do this.
Don't be a coward.
Okay, he's probably in cahoots with Quest at this point, or he's so incompetent, and he's deliberately trying to stop progress. Like, you're putting your life on the line, not his.
Made the promochloroparazine.
For what?
And he didn't even know what promochlorine pyrazine is, and he wanted to go back to formula. He doesn't even know what the compound even does.
40,000 years of evolution and we barely even tapped the vastness of human potential.
Anyway, you smash that bottle into the ground because you're an absolute Chad and you're a little bit frustrated with the day's events. And dramatically throwing bottles is kind of your thing. Next thing you know, though, you're not in your bed, but you're on the floor. That's, what? I mean, you don't remember drinking, and oh my god, you took the serum. But you need to play dumb, right? It was all kind of a blur, honestly. You just remember that you took a little bit of that serum, not anything else that happened.
They found his body this morning in the lab. He's been murdered, sir.
Oh, fuck. And I mean, it might not have been you, right? I mean, the chances are low. It's a shame you don't have CCTV, like kicking around in your multi-billion-dollar company with state secrets, or you would have really figured out what actually happened at that point.
And the flight suit and the glider?
What about it?
It's been stolen, sir.
They don't know me. They don't know what was here. Damn, now whichever idiot went on a murderous rampage has your best technology, and that shit was so expensive. Over the next, 10 days, some pretty bizarre things happen all at once. Harry tells you that Peter got into a fight in high school, and his uncle died, a tragic loss, all things considered, and Quest testing was obliterated, and Slocum himself died. I mean, it's actually kind of good because it meant you kept your funding. And you head off to your son's graduation. He wants to move in with his pal Peter, and fuck me, you are absolutely okay with this because apparently Peter has allowed your son to pass high school, something you didn't think actually was going to happen at one point in time. And the more time your son spends with this actual genius, the better, because maybe they can work together and run your company in the future. You are worried about succession at this point. Holy shit, did Peter get the science award? Like, you're literally fangirling a little bit too hard at this point. Why is this kid not your son? I mean, he doesn't have any parents, right? His uncle just died, so maybe you could just swoop right in. Why the hell not? And some time passes and your company is flourishing. It's in its lane. It's moisturized. Frankly, the untimely demise of Slocum, that was pretty good going. And your kids have moved into an apartment together and start playing adult. It's all very cute. Harry even gets a girlfriend. I mean, as long as he chooses someone that comes from money or like an heiress and not some peasant that's going to be eyeing up his trust fund.
When do I get to meet her?
Dad. Well, sorry, Harry hasn't mentioned her.
Hey, Pete, you're probably looking for a job now, right?
Wait a second, did he just try to deflect? Oh no, he's sleeping with Peter's crush. Oh, you've seen that before. Well, whatever. At least you can leap at the opportunity to try and get Peter a job, but the humble little shit just won't go for it. He wants to make it out on his own, and you respect the hell out of that. That's why you love him. He's not entitled. He's got a good heart, got a good head. Harry was half the man that this guy was. Whew.
I was thinking of something in photography.
And he wants to go into photography. I mean, with his mind, I mean, more power to him, but come on, man, he should be using himself for the betterment of mankind. You honestly can't help but notice the newspaper has changed over the last few weeks, and now there is a guy running around called Spooderman, or whatever. You enjoy those photographs, and then you head on to address your board of directors again, and they want to sell your company? Like, what? Why wouldn't, when everything is going so well? Kill them. Kill them all. They all look so smug and arrogant about it as well. They look like they're glad to get rid of you.
You know how much I sacrificed?
These filthy bastards. What can you do? You're so angry, you can't even think straight. You're barely holding it together. And you just really want to smash all of their faces in. Especially that smug tea-drinking little bastard. You'd really enjoy watching him die. Next thing you know, you remember nothing after the board meeting or how you got home. Oh, so you're actually going crazy. You lost your company, and now you're losing your mind. Fantastic.
Downplay the innocent with me. You've known all along.
All along about what? Oh no, the mirror is talking to you. Oh my god. Oh, you broke. Did he just smash a glass on the floor? That's your thing, man. Or is it his thing? Whose thing is it? Are you him? Is he you? Did you just invent a guy in your mind to do all of the horrible things that you couldn't do yourself? Or was it just the serum happening? You don't know. But what you do know is that you, or he, we, they, killed them all.
The answer's bingo. Me, your greatest creation. Bringing you what you've always wanted. Power beyond your wildest dreams, and it's only the beginning.
Well, I mean, if you put it like that, who cares about morals or what's right when you can have power? And now you're thinking that you can become a real CEO rather than just a fake one that actually cares about something other than profits. And the Bugle gave you your name, the Green Goblin. It's a nice ring to it. Green Goblin and Spider-Man. It will be the greatest duo in history, and together you would frankly be unstoppable. So you remember that the photographer for the Bugle probably knows who Spider-Man is. After all, how the hell did he get those shots? He must have some intimate knowledge, right? And you go there to figure out what's going on.
Spider-Man! I don't know who he is. His stuff comes in the mail. You're lying! I swear.
This Jameson guy, well, you gotta respect it. He will not give up Spider-Man at all. Talk about integrity. They don't make journalists like they used to. Ultimately, you're gonna have to kill him.
Set him down, tough guy.
Perfect. Spider-Man showed up and, well, you put him to sleep and take him away. And I mean, at no point do you think about removing his mark. I mean, ultimately, it's kind of cool that you don't know who it is. Also, like, he's probably someone you don't know, so it's kind of irrelevant. Anyway, you try to convince him to join you, but he just does not want to. And my god, he sounds like Peter Parker, just so noble and self-righteous. And then he says that he's just doing this because it's the right thing to do. My god, what's wrong with this kid? No one does anything because it's the right thing to do. You ought to knock some sense into this kid. So you tell him that people are basically cattle, and that their only function is to make exceptional people look good. And you and he are exceptional. So therefore, he shouldn't worry about protecting the cattle. He should only worry about making you and him exceptional. And I mean, it makes sense, right? Because if everyone's super, then nobody is. So you leave him with that choice, and you don't think he will. He's a self-righteous little prick. Better to try, though. I mean, you can just kill him later. Next day, you want to get his attention. So you set a building on fire, you know, whatever. Because nothing gets a Spider-Man harder than a building on fire. He gets to be a hero without having to hurt anybody. So you trick him with a really good recording of a female voice, and you don't know where you got that recording from. It just happened to be there. And you punch him square in the nose, because, you know, you decided to do that for some reason. Maybe it's your insanity. I mean, sure, you are trying to get him onto your side, and people will definitely respond well to physical violence, right? I mean, you probably just broke his nose just then, so how could he say no? He should be clamoring to join you. You just proved your strength to him. So you get your batter Goblin boomerangs and start having a cheeky 1v1. And I mean, he's a pretty goddamn good fighter the way he uses that web. It's unbelievable. Now, the real question is, does he produce that web himself, or does he have a mechanism? Because I mean, if he's producing it himself, then that's a bit weird. And if he has a little machine, well, that's amazing. He takes a little cut on the arm and vanishes. Anyway, it's time to become the real weak Norman and have Thanksgiving dinner with the Parkers and your son Squeeze. And you're introduced to Harry's girlfriend. She's pretty, sure, it won't last very long. You know, he'll pump and dump her, you're sure. Anyway, you hear a little bump and Harry says the Pete's actually there. You didn't realize that. That's weird. And whatever, everyone else thinks it's weird as well. So you all head upstairs, but there's nothing. There's no one, actually. But you can't help but notice he's a little messy guy, all in.
All brilliant men are.
That's true. Einstein was historically known for being a bit of a slump. And then, as you're about to leave, you hear something drop onto the floor, because apparently your super serum also gave you super hearing. And what do you look down and see? Blood. Wow, something doesn't add up here. Something is very suspicious. But you head back downstairs and Peter turns up, and you breathe a sigh of relief. Peter isn't Spider-Man. Thank God. That would have been really difficult to deal with.
Beat an old lady with a stick to get these.
Hang on, what? Did he just say that? And I mean, you'll sit down to say grace, and I mean, sure, why not? Grace is important, apparently. And you try to get your finger in the old lady's pie, but she slaps your hand away, and you have to almost physically restrain yourself from not murdering her. There's a little bit of a battle of wills going on there. She's a strong old boot. You could probably take her in a fight, but my god, she'll give you a good showing, actually. Maybe you should have given the serum to her. But then she points out that Peter is bleeding. And it all kind of makes sense. The bump without the person there, the blood on the floor. Peter is Spider-Man, and you gotta get out of there quick. I mean, it all makes sense. The moral righteousness, the arrogance, the not wanting of help. Of course it would have to be Peter. And then your son comes out and you're in no mood for his shit. You just had your world rocked. You're gonna have to kill someone that you thought was your son.
Mother was beautiful too. They're all beautiful. Until they're snarling after your trust fund like a pack of ravening wolves.
And I mean, his mum took you for a lot of money. And a pretty face just ends up costing you millions. And sure, she's nice now, but once they get a taste of a good life, well, it's all over from there, isn't it?
You're wrong about her, Dad.
A word to the not-so-wise about your little girlfriend. Do what you need to with her, then broom her fast.
So, you head home. You're a bit upset. Peter is like a son to you. He's really the guy that you wanted by your side, and by Harry's side to help run the business. And now he's your arch nemesis.
Make him suffer. Make him wish he were dead.
Yes.
And then grant his wish.
Yes, you're right. You must make him wish he was dead, and then kill him.
But how?
Family.
So you pop by to Aunt May and you show her what's up, and half is to piss off Parker, and honestly half is to get your own back from the disrespect that she showed you at the dinner table. But you don't kill her. Actually, you're surprised that she doesn't just die of a heart attack. Fuck me. Anyway, you go back home and start cackling to yourself over and over and over again until your son rudely interrupts you. And he admits that you're right. Well, hot dog, sir, of course you're right. But he lets it drop that little squeeze that he had was actually in love with Peter, and the most important person in the world to him. And then finally you have your way to hurt him without killing the old lady. Killing old ladies is wrong. And now you realize that your son is the only one that can carry on your legacy. And you decide to play a little game with Peter.
Can Spider-Man come out to play?
And you want to give Peter a choice.
Let die the woman you love, or suffer the little children.
Truly the most insane plan ever conceived. There's really no tangible benefit to anyone or anything. It's purely theatrical, and you're basically being a giant penis, but that's just what you gotta do. And fuck it, yeah, why not become a cartoon villain? Why not? You're literally insane. It's like the trolley problem, just a little bit more sadistic. Well, fuck me dead, he saved both, and that, well, whew, that'll do it. Did she just fall 20 feet and grab hold of a railing? Holy moly. But just as you're about to kill him, the people on the bridge start throwing shit at you. One of you just need to take us somewhere else. A dead spider is all that matters. You toss a pumpkin bomb at him and it blasts away his mask. Well, thank God, because now you can actually see some emotion on his face. Before it was just an emotionless red webbed blob with some eye things. No emotion, nothing. And you are better, you are faster, you are stronger, you are smarter than this guy, and it's not even close. Wildly inconvenient, but whatever. So you drop kick him through a wall and start taunting him. He's completely on the ropes, he's got nothing else he can do here. And you tell him that you're gonna go and kill his girlfriend, nice and slow like. But then he catches your trident and it refuses to budge. Like straight up, holy crap, was he holding back this whole time? He's that strong? And actually, as he's tossing you 40 feet, you still feel like he's got a little bit more left to give, like he's still holding back a lot. And you're thinking to yourself, maybe, just maybe, you might be in trouble, because this is effortless for him. Oh yeah, you're in trouble. He's a menace, like truly an unstoppable monster. And he cleaves your ass skywards, and you really need to think about what to do here. And finally you remember that it's still Peter Parker. And Peter Parker has one thing. He's emotional. And he cares. He's empathetic. So instead, you reveal yourself. Genius plan. Because you know he won't be able to kill you. You're like a father to him. And you plead insanity. You tell him the Goblin did it. Well, he doesn't know that you serum caused insanity. He just thinks that you're a fucking crazy person that decided to go psychotic one day. And you tell him that he has saved your life. All while you secretly and geniusly plan his death. And you reach out your hand, and this is so that you can pull him into the path of your glider, and he would die so much easier.
I have a father.
Bro, come on.
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you like it, please give it a like. And tell me, which villain would you like to see next? I just want to shout out my members, especially Jay, and of course, Lavender, Yuri, and Nora. Thank you. Have a great day, and